The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by Northeast Solar in Hatfield, offering personalized solar energy solutions and ongoing customer care, proudly serving communities throughout the Pioneer Valley. Northeast-solar.com.
Welcome to the Fabulous 413. I'm Khalees Smith.
And I'm Monty Belmonte. Later in the show, we'll learn some ways we can not completely exhaust our introvert family and friends with Janice Chaka of the Traveling Introvert podcast.
And we'll introduce you to Ricky McKinnie of the Blind Boys of Alabama before they hit the stage at the Hope Center for the Arts in Springfield this Saturday.
But first, we head to Ludlow in these chilly, wintry, snowy times.
It is so cold. To hang out on a family farm with the fourth of 5 generations that have stewarded it and the cattle that roam there.
It's time for another Local Hero Spotlight with Claire Morneau from CISA, the local hero, folks. And we are in Ludlow at Ellison Farm with Bud Ellison, and we're going to go look at some cows. It is cold, though, today, Bud, and this is not good for us or the cows. This is going to be the quickest Local Hero Spotlight we've ever done.
I got no problem with that.
Tell us, first of all, how many cows you got?
We run about 70, give or take.
And you're raising them for beef?
All of them for beef.
So
Yep.
unlike a lot of dairy farms that have milking barns, because there's going to be human beings interacting with the milk on a daily basis and makes it comfortable for the humans and for the cows, you got 70 cows that are having to endure the elements.
That's correct. And I mean, they're beef cattle, so they're bred for it. These are all British breed. They're Angus and Hereford. They're bred for that. But on the other side of it, if you keep them fed and you take care of them in that regard, keep them out of the wind, they're okay. They don't have to be inside.
They're like their own heat generator.
Well, they are. And folks know about how they eat. They're going to chew their cud, and that's going to take about 8 hours after they eat. And during that process, it's kind of like a little furnace.
Yeah.
As long as there's no snow on their back, that furnace is running.
Yeah.
It's melting all the snow and they're warm, believe it or not.
Are you the third generation farmer on this
Fifth.
land? Fifth.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm fourth. My son's fifth.
I have heard tell that your grandfather gave you sort of like a prescient omen when you were younger about how your future would unfold.
That might have been on another interview, but yeah, in that building right there, that shop. I was over here with my grandfather. He was retired. I don't know what he was fixing something, and I was young, and he just gave me a hammer and nails and said, when you're 5 years old, you can learn to pound nails straight. That's what all you can do. So pound nails and make them straight. I don't know what he was doing or thinking, because a lot was going through his mind, land, all those adult things. He got up and he reached over to me, and he never, ever, ever touched me. And he grabbed my arm, kind of tighter than was comfortable. And he said, "Don't ever sell the land." And I said, "Okay, Grandpa," because I was scared. And that was that, and it was fine, and it went away. It was never talked about again. But talk about an impression, right? I was like, ah. But I thought about it, and now I've gone through that, and my son's going through that. The taxes and all of the things that come with trying to hold on to land, especially now it's worse than it ever was. Real estate, everything costs. And I kind of understood what he was trying to say. And he had let go 120 acres to his son-in-laws, because they was a big family. They had six females. I sound like a farmer, right? He had 6 daughters. Sorry. And a couple of bulls, right? And, long story short, he had let some go, and I think he might have regretted it. But we're very, very happy to say that because of that, one of my goals is I've bought back several acres from land he had sold. What I could buy back, I have.
Your grandfather will be pleased, I'm sure.
He might be pleased. I've heard that from a couple of my cousins. That makes you feel good.
Yeah.
In this day and age, sometimes families are bickering about land and who gets what. And it's nice that I've got some good support from family that are like, hey, I don't know why you're doing it, but we're glad you're doing it.
Yeah.
Plus, it's a feat. Like your grandfather saying, don't let go of the land. Like once you let it go, it's hard to get it back.
They don't make more land.
Yeah. Buy real estate because God ain't make any more of it. That's what they all say, right? And we're with Bud Ellison at Ellison Beef, and we're looking at some of your cows right here. They're gorgeous, and they look furry. There's a couple of young cows here, and then tell us about these guys.
This is one of our production herds. We have 2 production herds, one here and one in Three Rivers on our sister farm. We separate them. I was mentioning earlier, we like to calve a couple of times a year, so we sell when they're about 2 years old, and so you kind of want to keep the pipe filled, if you will, with product. Customers are spread out that way. And it's also easier just on us managing calving, because we calve everything here. It doesn't matter if it's a C-section or whatever it is, so it gets busy.
Yeah.
So this is one of our production herds, and the production herd meaning it's mothers and calves. The mothers are growing their calves. So we don't milk and sell our milk, but they're milking. Yeah. I feed them, they feed them. And then we do all the finishing here, which means we background them on the pastures, which means once they wean off about 7 months, they get backgrounded, and backgrounding kind of grows them until they're maybe maybe about 700 pounds. And then we take them up 1,200 and finish them. So it's like they kind of go through the process where they're on their mom, then they're weaned off their background, and then we take them up and finish them at the end. And all the finishing happens here.
And you're using different feed for each of those. I mean, like you've got milk for the early
Every
stages.
one of those phases. It's different. We make all our own feed. We do all of them. We don't buy in it. The mothers generally during the summer, they're going to be on pasture and they're going to get baleage, high quality baleage, high protein baleage, right? So we make alfalfa mixes. And then in the wintertime, that's when they get the corn. So we have corn silage and we plant and harvest our own corn. And so that keeps the mothers going. And then when we get them to the finishing stage, this is the last, say, 3, 4, 5 months, and that's when we're taking them from, say, 700 up to 12. Then you're kind of pouring the carbs on them because we want the finishing. That's where we want to have, you've heard of marbling and all that jazz, and that's what we're trying to do. We're not giving them steroids or anything crazy like that. We don't believe in any of that jazz. But we just want to make sure they're eating well.
Bud Ellison, you are raising these cattle, and some of the farms we've gone to, beef farms, they've done insemination, but you like doing it the old-fashioned way.
No, we're the old-fashioned way. We buy our own bulls. We buy high-quality bulls. I'm not going to lie at all. We scour the countryside and Canada. We buy only high-quality bulls. We've had the Grand National Champion of Canada's son here. And I mentioned the other farms. We have a sister farm that works with us, and then we have another farm that we help out. They're kind of up and coming. And so we'll cycle that bull around because when a bull has nothing else to do, he's going to look for something to do.
He gets in trouble.
Yeah, and he's 2,000 pounds, so he can win most battles with fences and barn walls and all that.
As is the way with most teenage boys.
Yes, yes. But, you know, if he's got a herd of cattle that he's breeding, he just does his thing and sits down. And really, the females run the herd anyway. He doesn't run the herd.
Claire Morneau from CISA.
Where do you sell your beef?
We have an agreement. You folks may have heard of Randall's Farm, Karen Randall here in Ludlow. She's got a great business, and we're good friends. We've been friends with them for years and years and years. And we do quite a bit, if not all, of their heavy field work. We plant all of the heavy crops for them on their acreages with our machinery. And so we have some agreements. They sell all of my retail. Aside from that, we sell family freezer beef. So by the side, I've tried trying to do it less than a side, but it gets a little, everybody wants the T-bones, right? I mean, then what do you do with it?
Right.
So the side works out, and we kind of encourage people and teach people how, hey, talk to your brother-in-law, talk to your friends, get together. I mean, we're firefighters, so we're able to, you can enlist the firefighters. You'd be like, hey, get 6 guys to go in if you only want a little bit, right? So that kind of thing. But we really like that niche.
Talk about the 2 breeds that you have in the pen. You've got Black Angus and you got Herefords.
That's correct. And we make black baldies.
That's when they get together, they're called black baldies?
Yes, in the industry, that's what they call them. And so you may or may not see some out there, like, okay, there's one. See him looking at us with see her looking at us, I should say?
Yeah.
With a little yellow tag. So that's what you get. You pretty much get an Angus back with a black and white head. Angus bulls are hot. They're a lot to deal with. Right here for bulls, usually, like I said, as long as they have something to do, they don't bother you. They're not going to hurt you usually, right?
Yeah.
So we use Hereford bulls, and the Herefords are excellent mothers, and they're easy keepers. Angus, on the other hand, they have great milk. Not to mention everybody's heard of Angus. They have a great marketing program, right?
Yeah.
But they have great milk. The Angus just have big udders and they push a lot of milk. And we're using females to grow calves. The more that the female does in 6 or 7 months, the less I got to do later, right?
Mm-hmm. Herefords are like the sweetest of the cow world. They're so friendly, and they're like mildly curious about you, but they don't chase.
We have really good luck with that kind of thing. We handle them a lot too, and that's key. They get used to us. They know the vehicles. They know when a vehicle comes in, they're going to start mowing. They know it's feeding time. If I start up one of the heavy machines to come and scoop silage, everybody's mooing and screaming and yelling. They literally know.
So
it's kind of
sorry
cool.
to disappoint them today.
I know.
We're
They
here for
thought we-
something else entirely.
Yeah.
I know there was a row of them, just like, you're really not gonna fill. All right, well.
Then they got bored with the radio interview and walked
Yeah.
away. We're with Bud Ellison at Ellison Farm in Ludlow. And Bud, you mentioned sort of in passing that we're firefighters. You and your son Zach are both Ludlow firefighters, right?
That's correct. We're both officers.
Would you be able to be just a farmer, or do you need to have this other occupation to make the farm survive?
It's very hard, I think, in this area of New England to do it without an off-farm income of some sort. Insurance, all that stuff, health insurance, all of that jazz. So we found a way to do it, and the firefighting is kind of cool because we don't necessarily work every day, the firefighting rotating schedules and all that. So it's conducive to giving us time to do our haying. And the point of it is to have enough cattle to make enough money to pay my insurance costs, to pay the taxes, to pay all that, pay for all the commodities, right?
Yeah.
It's probably not happening. We found out 2 cows, you can't do 2. Have 1, maybe 1.5, If you have 10 to go broke, that's what we zip it. We went right up to 70. I don't want to buy stuff. I know this sounds weird, but I want control. We want control because I'm giving you a product you're going to feed to your children. I can tell everyone that I've seen that from when it was born to when you got it. We truck them to the slaughterhouse and back. We have 100% control over that, and that's so that we can ensure it's the safest product that we can absolutely deliver.
It's interesting to hear you talking about Ludlow and the surrounding area in this agricultural sense because it's so residential now.
It is.
I'm curious about just your experience of how the surrounding area has changed, and I guess also just the history of the farm. Like, what did your great-great-grandparents do?
So we started an agriculture commission. We started in agriculture in town. We got the right to farm passed. We started going with CISA. We're always running around talking about farming, everybody. And so we're trying to keep it. I just got on the planning board. We're trying to look for ways to have agricultural corridors and protect the land. You're right, and I've seen that happen over the years. And I grew up in that farming community, if you will, and so I'm trying to protect it. I think more so when I talked about my grandfather with that, I like to think it was a broader thing he was trying to say. I don't know if he was just really in deep down in his mind talking about just our land and everything, but what he did do, regardless of what he was trying to do, is he made an impression on me not only for my own land, but for all of that side of Ludlow. We always say if you look on Ludlow's town, being a firefighter, right, it's the site of the fire truck, the town seal. If you look at town seal of Ludlow, it's half manufacturing, the old mills and everything down there. The other half's a plowshare with some straw in the background and some fields, and there's something in that, and I try to make my decisions based on that.
I did ask like a 4-part question, so my other question was about just the history of the farm. Like, you are raising beef cattle for meat. Has it always been that way?
Well, back in the day, they did dairy. So we had, my cousins lived next door on the property over there. There was 125 acres on that side, and they had the biggest barn in Ludlow at the time, and what barns in Ludlow do is burn down. That's what they do. If you go back in the history, back then all burned.
Which is why you're a firefighter.
My grandfather was too. We've got a picture of his horse team with the remember the old style wagon?
With the big humps.
And my father's about yay big. My grandfather's sitting there like this holding the horses, and they had a huge family. And my father was a little guy sitting up with the reins, and they had put a big fire helmet on him back in the day. But anyway, in '92, that's when I built that barn, and a bunch of firefighters, we all came over here and threw it up. It was kind of like a barn raising, like the folks the Amish do and all that. We always had horses. We've always had horses. Because my grandfather had a horse team. He delivered the mail with a sleigh and horses. It was a big thing.
The Pony Express.
Yeah, my sister had horses, so we were always into horses. I had Arabs. Livestock was not a big deal. And so when we decided to go back, I said, this is what I kind of made a decision, So we brought the cows back in '92.
Was your son always interested in being a part of the farm? Because not everybody's kids on the...
Well, I can show you pictures of him running around on a horse under shade tall with a cowboy hat. He'd kill me. He's the guy, hey, look at everybody else. You can't push it on him. I was his hockey coach. I was his football coach. I mean, and he lives here. But he made his own decisions. And he
Especially after you grabbed him by the arm and said, seriously.
No, right? As you might think, right? So we're firefighters, kind of type A guys and all that stuff. He grew up on the farm. He's got his own ideas. And I finally figured out how to let him have them. It works a lot better. Yeah. But he does a great job. And I'll tell you, he is a great cattleman. He's great at handling cattle, loading cattle. He can load 3 or 4 out by himself in the dark in a snowstorm and move them. He's very good with that.
And loading the cattle, that's a delicate time. You have to manage their stress and...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You do, and the pail of grain goes farther than a 2x4, right? And so, but I mentioned earlier, we handle these guys since they're calves. They know who we are. I'll be very proud to tell you this farm has never and will never own a hot shot. You know what a hot shot is, right? The electric cattle prod thing.
Yeah.
Never needed one. Don't do it. The most we have, we might have a cane. Somebody might get a little tap.
Even my Nana had a wooden
Cattleman's
spoon.
cane. The cattleman's cane.
Where are you processing your cattle?
Everything goes down to Connecticut in a great facility down there, and we're very happy that we hooked up with them. We've been to about every USDA facility, there was only like 3 in the whole state. We're down there now to New England meat. We do a lot of custom. In fact, everything just about we do is custom. And so we've been able to come up with some shoulder cuts that we couldn't get other places. Taking apart a front shoulder takes a little bit of experience, right? they've really been able to get Terrace Major, stuff like that. They've been able to deliver us. And so, you know, people don't even know about that cut. And it's probably next to a tenderloin is the best cut on an animal. So they're very good, and we're happy with them.
So you can go to Randall's Farm and get it.
You can.
But if you're interested in, like, you got a big chest freezer and you want a bunch of
And
beef.
a pile of friends.
Yeah, you know, or the ideal, I'd say our average family is probably 4, and probably a couple of teenagers, sports-minded adolescents. They eat a lot. A lot of them, family of 4. Under that, you're probably looking for a lot of friends.
Yeah.
But, and, you know, I'll be honest with you, you know, people go back and forth about whether it's safe to eat red meat or should be eating red meat healthy and all that jazz and everything else. People wouldn't be buying an average of a 250-pound side from us and feeding it to their family if they weren't comfortable.
Especially when you know where it's come from and the entirety of that cow's trajectory.
You know all the stuff you've heard, and you hear about the steroids, you hear about the patches they put in the ear and the growth hormones and antibiotics, and we can go on and on about all that bad stuff, but you can come here and you can talk to us and we'll show you we don't do any of that. Just like I said, we don't use cattle prods. We don't believe in all that. You just got to know what you're doing. Local's the new organic in terms of marketing, right? Because you can come see it. It's real. You know, it's not coming in shipped from Brazil in a freezer ship. This is where it is, and you can see what's going on. You can decide if you like the way it's being grown, if you like the folks that are selling it, and keep turning the dollars local. You know, we try to buy local from people around here too, so those dollars just keep circling here. They're not going to another country or going to another state right here. So I kind of like that.
And taste-wise, with pretty much every crop, and that's livestock included, they have a half-life for flavor. The further you are from it, the less it tastes like the thing it was supposed to taste like. And that's true of livestock too. The beef is better where you're at, generally.
Well, thanks for taking so much time out of your busy day firefighting and cattle raising here in Ludlow, Bud Ellison. Thanks so much.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much for coming by.
Coming up next, one of the longest singing members of the Blind Boys of Alabama, Ronnie McKinney, as they are ready for their performance at the Hope Center for the Arts in Springfield this Saturday, December 20th.
After which, we'll talk about making seasonal celebrations easier for the introverts in your life with consultant, podcaster, and introvert interpreter Janice Chaka.
You're listening to the Fabulous 413 on 88.5 NEPM.
The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by the UMass 5 College Credit Union, dedicated to creating access to financial well-being for local people, businesses, and communities. Insured by NCUA, umass5.coop. The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by Hashi Pottery in 50 Arrow Gallery at Eastworks. Japanese-inspired ceramics and textiles, where every piece is handmade in the Pioneer Valley for home, ritual, or someone dear. HashiPottery.com.
You gotta kick the devil way down in the hole.
The Blind Boys of Alabama will perform at Hope Center for the Arts on Saturday, December 20th, with their acclaimed Christmas concert. Since the beginning, Blind Boys of Alabama built a career by putting their own stamp on gospel standards and traditional hymns, but over the past 80 years have broadened their sound to encompass much more.
Blind Boys won their 6th Grammy Award in 2024 for the album Echoes of the South and released a book on the group's history titled Spirit of the Century. Longevity and major awards aside, the Blind Boys have earned praise for their remarkable interpretations of everything from traditional gospel favorites to contemporary spiritual material and country and everything in between. Their performances have been experienced by millions, and their live shows are roof-raising musical events that appeal to audiences of all cultures, as evidenced by an international itinerary that has taken them to almost every continent.
And we are joined by one of the Blind Boys of Alabama, who also is the business manager, I believe, of the Blind Boys of Alabama, Ricky McKinnie. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
You were born in Atlanta, Georgia. How do you get to be a Blind Boy of Alabama?
Well, I met Clarence Thompson when I was about 4 years old. My mother was a professional singer, Sarah McKinney. One day he called me up and said, "Hey, man, do you want to go to Australia?" And I said, "Let's go."
I mean, I want people to call me up and ask me to go to Australia.
Yeah. When was that?
It was in 1989 when he called me up and asked me about going with them to Australia. But I had already worked with Blind Boy before then.
What was your connection to gospel music and spiritual music before connecting with the Blind Boys of Alabama?
Well, I had been in gospel music for a long time. I started in Atlanta with a group called the Soul Searchers out of Atlanta. I was a member of the Gospel Keynotes from Tyler, Texas, and we won a gold record for Jesus. You've been good to me. I played for Reverend B.J. Johnson Jr. Church, a Great Amount Calvary Church in Atlanta. Reverend B.J. Johnson Jr. was a nephew of Thomas A. Dorsey. His mother, Bernice Dorsey Johnson, was his mother. And I did the Ricky McKinnie Singers. It was just my own group. And here I am today with the Blind Boys of Alabama.
They're called the Blind Boys of Alabama, and the members are indeed blind.
Most of them.
Well, we have a band, but the members of the Blind Boys are all blind, except for our guitar player, who was the music director, Joey Williams.
But you were not born blind either, right? You became blind later in life?
Yes, I lost my sight when I was 23 years old from glaucoma.
Mm-hmm. And now you become sort of an outspoken proponent of research to help fight glaucoma. Is that true?
Well, I let people know that it's important to get your eyes checked and to do the things that you need to do in order to preserve your sight.
Mm-hmm. Tell us about some of the folks that you have had the opportunity to work with as one of the Blind Boys of Alabama, Ricky McKinnie, that particularly stand out to you. So one of those moments where, pinch me, I can't believe it's real.
Well, yeah, we had opportunities to play with Dan Harper, Mavis Staples.
I'm gonna send you one by one.
So many people.
I'm a big fan of, speaking of your Christmas stuff, your version of Go Tell It on the Mountain with one of my musical heroes, Tom Waits. What a wonderful combination of sounds to make that song.
While the shepherds kept there watching, more silent flock by night.
Talk about how you feel about secular music becoming more of your repertoire, because Blind Boys of Alabama started as a solely gospel group doing spirituals that they had to learn on their own because they weren't being taught at the school that they were at. But gradually over the years, more and more secular music has come into your repertoire. Talk about how you approach the gospel and the spiritual music as opposed to the secular stuff that is now a part of your catalog.
Well, as time went on, we met different people, different producers, and which in turn had us to sing different types of songs. So what we do, we listen to the song, but most of all, we just let God lead us in the right direction. It's been good.
We're speaking with Ricky McKinnie from the Blind Boys of Alabama, who will be at the Hope Center for the Arts on Saturday, December 20th. Ricky joined the group about 50 years into its run, as it started in 1939. Ricky joined them in the 1980s. You are also a radio host, Ricky, that hosted a show, and I know you had to shelve a little bit of that so you could focus more time on being with the Blind Boys of Alabama. But tell us a little bit about what your radio show was or is like.
Well, our radio show is aired every Sunday in Atlanta. It's called Rock with Ricky, and it's on station WIGO in Atlanta. But we play good gospel music. We play old standards. We play music up to date, but mainly we play songs to try to make people feel good.
Mm-hmm. What was it like having the biography done of Blind Boys of Alabama, especially as somebody who came in the middle?
Well, it was great. We've had a chance to working on a documentary. We had one already called How Sweet the Sound, but it was great just to be a part of things. When people can appreciate what you do and what you do is real and authentic, well, it was just a great opportunity just to be around.
The concert this Saturday, as it's very close to Christmas, is part of your Christmas musical extravaganza, I guess. Are there Christmas songs that you don't like? Christmas music can be very divisive, either for religious reasons or just because it's so pervasive on the radio and in every store you go to. Are there songs that you'd be willing to admit, Ricky McKinnie from Blind Boys of Alabama, even that are part of your repertoire, that you cannot stand?
You're like, can we just leave this one off today?
Yeah.
No, we don't have a song in our repertoire that I don't like. We've been doing this Christmas tour for a while. But we like all the songs, and all the songs fit the Blind Boys. People enjoy them, so we enjoy the songs and we enjoy the people.
Well, that's good to hear, I guess. And there's plenty that I hear when I'm in. I love Paul McCartney, but if I have to hear Simply Having a Wonderful Christmas Time one more time, forget it.
Ricky, you're involved in a lot of nonprofits outside of Blind Boys of Alabama. What causes are most important to you to support?
Well, I have a nonprofit called Traditions, Culture, Arts, and the goal is to help to preserve and promote the arts through music. And what's important to me is to let people know that there are all different types of music. So the more we let people know and try to keep it alive, because so many songs sometimes disappear, but people, they have to know that music is music. All different kinds of music has its place. So we try to preserve and promote music with the traditions, culture, arts.
What about your advocacy for folks who are blind? I mean, a lot of the stuff that you have done does have to do with that. And as you mentioned, you had glaucoma and lost your sight when you were in your 20s. How are you received by the greater blind community?
Well, I'm received pretty good. I've done a lot of things. I try to be positive, and I let people know that a disability doesn't have to be a handicap. It's not about what you can't do that's important. It's about what you do. And my motto is, I'm not blind, just can't see. That means I lost my sight, but not my direction.
I love that.
You came into this group in 1989. How many other new members have joined the Blind Boys of Alabama since you've joined the group?
It's been quite a few, but right now we have two guys. One is named Sterling Glass. He's out of North Carolina, and J.W. Smith. He's from Ohio. But I've seen quite a few guys come and go.
Are you the oldest serving member, I guess, of the Blind Boys of Alabama at this point, coming in 1990?
I am. I'm the senior member of the Blind Boys of Alabama. I tell you, it's been a real experience. I've been there through the whole thing. Clarence Fountain and Jimmy Carter, he retired about 2 years ago. But we're still keeping it going. We're keeping it live. If you come to the program, you're going to say, wow, the Blind Boys of Alabama really got it going on.
It's amazing. And I mean, like we said, you come into it almost 50 years into the existence of this group and continuing it on for the last 30, getting close to 40 years here is unbelievable.
But that also means that you joined when there were still founding members that were a part of Blind Boys of Alabama. What's something that you learned from them when joining the group?
I learned that no matter what the situation is, it's always a way to work it out. Clarence Fountain, I knew all the Blind Boys. Like I said, I met them when I was 4 years old. So I had the opportunity to meet the whole group. I've learned that no matter what the situation is, if you believe in it and you give it the best you got, most times things work out.
Words to live by.
Mm-hmm.
Ricky McKinnie, the current longest-serving member of the 80-something-year-old group, the Blind Boys of Alabama. Blind Boys will be performing at the Hope Center for the Arts on Saturday, December 20th with their Christmas concert. I am, as I mentioned, a big fan of the Blind Boys' Christmas music in particular. So many of the incredible people that you've worked with over the years, from more contemporary artists like Valerie June, going back
Black violin
to Prince, play all over the map. And we're lucky to have you in Springfield on Saturday, December 20th, and we're lucky to have you on this show. Ricky, thank you so much.
Just want to say that I appreciate you for having me on the program, and I want to let everybody know that Blind Boys are on the way, and don't miss it when the boys are back in town.
Thank you so much.
That's facts.
All right, thank you now. Take care. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you.
And full disclosure, the Hope Center for the Arts is an underwriter of NEPM, but that's not why we chose to talk with them. The Blind Boys are a national treasure. Enough said.
Up next, we'll get insights and tips for not completely exhausting or angering those in your life who are a little less into the social parts of the holiday season with introvert, expert, and interpreter Janice Chaka.
You're listening to the Fabulous 413 on 88.5 NEPM.
The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by Eastside Grill, celebrating 40 years in downtown Northampton, serving steaks, seafood, and American cuisine to the Pioneer Valley and beyond. Open for holiday lunch. EastSideGrill.com. The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by Comfort Bagel, scratch-made artisan sourdough bagels, spreads, and sandwiches for breakfast or lunch on Main Street in Westfield and at their new location in Holyoke at 92 Race Street. ComfortBagel.com.
It's just me, myself, and I.
Welcome back to the Fabulous 413. The holidays can be a mixed bag when it comes to familial and social obligations, especially if you are not a person who is energized by large social gatherings.
Springfield's Janice Chaka is a TEDx speaker who works with organizations to bridge the introvert-extrovert divide and create more inclusive workspace cultures.
She facilitates training sessions helping teams leverage the strengths of both personality types. She's also the host of the Traveling Introvert podcast, where she explores running a business, traveling, and being an introvert in weekly 5-minute episodes. Welcome back to the show, Janice. We had you on when it had to do with the Northampton Record Fair, where we were going through your record collection that you brought into the studio, which was really fun.
Good selections.
Excellent selection. And is introvert expert something you would accept as a description, or how do you describe what you do?
Introvert translator.
Introvert leadership coach, it says on your website.
Oh, that's the one website you found. I have many. Mainly because I do lots of different things or else I get bored. What would I consider myself to be? Sure, let's call myself an introvert expert.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
How did the podcast come into it?
I had to look a little bit of this up because I've been doing the podcast for so long. I was like, when did this actually start? I've been traveling a lot and working a lot. And somebody accused me of not actually living in the place that I was living.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, no, I totally live there. Like, I have a house and I have an address. And then I looked it up, and I'd actually been traveling 9 months of the year for the past 4 to 5 years at that time. So this was in 2017. And I had just done a meetup in Singapore where I'd rented out the top half of a bakery that was 3 floors. And just for fun, I'd done a networking for introverts because I'd done a lot of workshops there where Southeast Asian areas tend to be more introvert-leaning in their culture, but they work for extrovert-leaning organizations.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was a lot of interest there. So I was like, oh, yeah, let me just do this meetup. And thought maybe 12 people would turn up. And we filled the entire 3-floor bakery.
Uh-huh.
So there was obviously a need there. And there was a whole discussion about me traveling and working and still being an introvert and all of those things. And so it started off actually as more of a personal journal of my traveling and working and doing things is considered to be differently. And then it kind of grew from there.
And some of them don't have to do with traveling necessarily at all. They do have to do with workplace interactions and other things that introverts deal with every day, whether or not they're traveling. I guess a good place to start for some people is, how do you define introvert versus extrovert?
Okay, so imagine a rechargeable battery and a solar panel. So extroverts more like solar panels. They get energy from humans and interactions, and they can expend their energy and get energy at the same time. And that's fine, and they love it. And if they stop getting energy from humans, they lose their energy and they find it harder to do things, and they need human interaction. Introverts, on the other hand, are more like rechargeable batteries, which used to be really popular, now it's kind of hard to find. I don't know what's up with that.
I know, right?
But they start off with a certain amount of energy, and during the day it drains for whatever reason. There are multiple reasons why your energy might drain. But then you get to a point where you're tapped out and you have to go away and recharge. And that can look different for different people, but you can't recharge and energize at the same time. It's one or the other. You can do all the things, but you just have to be aware of what drains your energy in what way.
I love that, because I've never heard it with recharge and energize at the same time. And this is something I deal with an awful lot.
Same.
As I am an extreme extrovert, but who needs their own quiet time as well. I think everybody's nuanced in these different ways. But my wife is about as hard-pinned an introvert as you could possibly imagine.
You've met my partner.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're both dealing with this the same way. And it was the holidays where this was an aha moment for me, where I realized we just went to this party, we just had this great time, and we're driving home, and I'm rhapsodizing about all the things that happened, and my wife is mad at me for some reason, and I can't figure it out. When I observed this happen multiple times over multiple post-party interactions, I was like, oh, we need to figure out this dynamic, because you have just been drained of all your energy, and I have been recharged, and I'm chattering away. Does this ring true to you, introvert expert Janice Chaka?
I can speak from experience. I have seen Janice at events that I have been at and events that I've thrown, and Janice is very quietly, very subtly trying to get out the door, and Justin is nowhere to be found.
Justin Cohen, a.k.a. DJ Studebaker Hawk, who's been on the show as well, who's also in the studio.
And there was just a moment we share where I realized, oh, you need to leave. Okay, let's see if we can make this happen. Like, you hit your limit.
Yeah.
My wife just sent me a comic the other day, which is 2 people about to walk into a party, and one of them says, "I'm ready to leave whenever you are." Like literally before they have entered.
It's like sign, code word.
Yeah.
So yes, it is a balance. And if you want to talk about the holidays, for example, it's not just the one party. There's the office party. Yeah. There's the friends. There's people who come into town that you haven't seen in forever. There's family stuff. And they all want to do it in like a 2-week period.
Right.
And so there's no recharge time in between. And so you want to be nice because you want to see these people, maybe.
Also rings very true.
But at the same time, you only have enough energy to be present. You want to be your best. It's not because you don't like people. It's because you know what's good for you and they're not getting the best you.
Mm-hmm. The world is skewed for people like me to be extroverted. It is designed in a way that makes it easier for me to navigate through the world as an extrovert than it does for my wife and you to navigate through the world as an introvert. What are some best practices that you have incorporated into your own life in a time like the holidays where you may be, against your will, forced to experience this high world of extrovertedness?
Boundaries.
Uh-huh.
People like to stomp all over them, but boundaries. And it takes practice. And it takes putting yourself first, which a lot of people find really difficult to do because there's a lot of guilt involved around the holiday season and seeing people. Mm-hmm. So knowing which things will drain you more. If I go to a one-to-one sort of thing where it's dinner with people, less draining than a big house party where I don't know anyone. Please do not invite me to a party where I don't know anyone.
What do you do at a party like that? How would you react?
I need escape options. So can I get home or leave in some way?
Yeah.
Can I go outside? How long can I spend in the bathroom listening to a podcast? Can I read a book? Is it the kind of situation where people don't mind what you do? Because there's definitely some parties you can go to and people are doing their own thing. Mm-hmm. Or there's parties where you're expected to stand and make random small talk. And it's not the fact about talking to people that's the issue. It's the fact that most people have the same standard, let's be honest, boring questions. So what do you do?
Yeah.
And then you're stuck in that little, I'm an accountant. And then people just talk to you about money and you're like, I would like to talk about other things.
Yeah.
Books, movies, anything other than this thing. So boundaries is one. Blocking out my calendar for work things as well. And then having that balance of things that are going to recharge me, because different types of events will drain me differently. And so knowing what those are and then knowing what things to recharge, because some things will recharge me quicker or better than others.
Mm-hmm. We're speaking with Janice Chaka, who is an introvert expert and is the host of the Traveling Introvert podcast. She's from Springfield and giving us a little help as Khalees and I are mostly extroverts in navigating through.
I am a proud ambivert.
I think I am too, actually, but I can thrive in the extrovert scenarios easily.
Sometimes I need to throw a party and sometimes I really need for everyone to just leave me alone.
Yeah.
What's your ideal holiday look like?
So holiday as in vacation, or you mean holiday season?
Like holiday season holiday.
We're U.S. Americans, so we call it vacation.
Well, also, holiday means a lot of different things to people because, like, are we on about Christmas, Hanukkah?
Right.
What do you mean?
Like, let's say winter holiday season.
My ideal winter holiday season is what I thought I was getting this year, and it's not happening, is I get to stay at home. Okay, let's say 80% of the time I will go out and do stuff. It involves catching up on all the crafts that I said I was going to do at the start of the year that I have not even touched. Because there's some crafts that are winter crafts, like anything to do with fiber.
Right.
Winter crafts.
Yeah.
Finishing Lego, reading, baking, cooking. If I get to spend a whole day, and I try and do this at least one time during that holiday season, end of year thing, one day where I have a complex thing that I get to cook. And in a random thing, I really like to digitally organize my computer.
Church of the Empty Inbox.
I love that too. What's something that you would give as a piece of advice as an introvert to an extrovert who may not be as familiar with interactions with introverts? Because I also witness how other people treat my wife all the time, and I'm perfectly happy being rude and calling them out on it, but I'm not there all the time, and maybe somebody's listening where they see somebody that is not always wanting to interact at a party and is a little bit more quote-unquote shy or quiet. That's why I said quote-unquote, because I know that introvert doesn't always mean shy, but sometimes it does too. What advice would you give to somebody who maybe just realizing that this is a real thing, the introvert-extrovert divide, and how to navigate through that at a party or at a workplace?
I mean, my first answer is there's an episode on that. But
the Traveling Introvert podcast, wherever podcasts are available. 5 minutes. They're fun,
like very digestible.
Bite size. Yeah, I love it.
But my second answer would be don't assume everyone's like you. That's a general thing. That's not even an introvert-extrovert thing. It's just don't assume, don't make assumptions, ask questions, and respect whatever that person says or does.
If you had the opportunity to do another TED Talk,
oh my gosh,
What would your topic be this time?
Because the last one was the workplace isn't designed for introverts, but it should be.
There's quiet because I'm thinking about this, because that particular TED Talk did not come out the way that I wanted it to. And so part of me is like, well, actually, I would do this.
Do it again.
I'd just like to do this one over. Thanks.
Valid answer.
But I haven't really thought about it because I don't think you get to do it again. Maybe something, yes, actually, this is more like an art project, but it would be something along the lines of how words make a difference. For example, if you look in dictionaries, how introverts are described. If you're a young human and then you're looking for validation about yourself and you look up introvert, and generally it says lone wolf and very negative things. And if you look up extrovert, it's like charismatic and a team player. And so that kind of sucks. And also culture takes into consideration. Movies do a really bad job of showing introverts in their true light. And so I would do something around how words really affect people and how they see themselves and how other people see them and the ramifications of that.
You know, you cringed when I said shy, and I know not to say that one because I live with an introvert, and put it in quotes. But what are some of the words that make you hesitant, and what are some of the words that, when you hear them, help you feel like people to understand actually how you're wired?
Let's go with cringe. Definitely shy. Anxious. Those two are definitely sort of, there's a Venn diagram there of the assumptions. Don't like people. Can't do insert thing here. So public speaking, acting, musician, like whatever it might be, using that as a crutch and an excuse. No. Things that make me think that people understand. Oh, yeah, sure, that's okay. You just need insert thing here. Or I respect your whatever it is. I don't think there's a specific word because we're all just human and we can all do all the things. It just depends on your energy levels.
Mm-hmm.
What for you is recharging about travel?
Ooh, I love traveling. There's a lot of alone time in the air, on a train, in a car. And you get to sort of, I don't want to say corporate, like blue sky thinking, but you do get to spend a lot of time just staring out the window and letting your mind travel and wander. And there's also the ritual of traveling, sort of what you need to do to get ready. There is the universal symbol of I can put my headphones on and no one's going to talk to me. Does it always work? No. So yeah, actually going back to what things extroverts do, if someone's wearing headphones, let them wear headphones and don't talk to them. Don't do it, please. Or if they've got a nose in a book, also just leave them alone. And I enjoy finding places where I can go and eat alone and they're not going to bother me or try and like get me out of the table quickly because they need to turn it over. I enjoy finding new places. I enjoy the planning of it, but that's not necessarily an introvert thing. That's just a me thing, probably. I love the planning and the organization of it, which means my other half gets to be a travel princess or travel prince. They just turn up, maybe with their passport.
I also benefit from that.
I get to be able to choose my amount of interaction with humans. I could go on a group tour, or I could go and do something solo. The amount of choice there. And there is a difference between traveling alone and traveling with other humans and traveling with a group of humans. They are all manageable as an introvert. They're just different.
Before we let you go, Janice, as we're learning about the introvert-extrovert divide, a lot of the work that you do is about the introvert-extrovert divide in the workplace. There are workplace holiday parties, too, that can be uncomfortable for folks, and just one of the many things that they have to experience as part of the holidays, whether it's going to recharge their battery or not. But in general, in the regular workplace environment, which you say in your TED Talk is not geared towards the introvert, what are some things that managers, other coworkers should keep in mind if they recognize that one of their coworkers is an introvert?
Honestly, it's all about the systems. Systems in workplaces are set up for you to have meetings all the time. The ideal meeting should have an agenda in advance, be sent out in advance, have a goal in advance. Therefore, you're only inviting the right people, and people have the information in advance to make the decision when they're in the meeting. That gives the extroverts time to talk it out and the introverts time to think about the information. Then when you actually have the meeting, it should be timed. The agenda itself should have timings on it to know that X person is only speaking for 2 minutes and that person who loves to rant and rave can only get like a 5-minute slot. And then at the end, you have whatever your takeaways are and someone is designated to follow up on that. Or you can actually automate it in Slack or whichever like Teams thing that you use. That means that both sides of the introvert-extrovert divide get what they need from the meeting while it not being a complete waste of time that this should have been an email.
I have a friend who might be a famous news broadcaster whose philosophy is every meeting should have been an email. I kind of agree with that, even though I'm an extrovert. So we're all interesting and nuanced, but that's really good advice for people, I think, to hit, especially managers, how to orchestrate the necessities of the workplace.
Honestly, you could probably apply it to family dinners as well.
This family dinner should have been an email. We can all get takeout. Janice Chaka from Springfield is a TEDx speaker and introvert expert behind the Traveling Introvert podcast. And you offer introvert leadership coaching as well. Where should people go if they're interested in the services that you provide in helping people navigate this divide?
thetravelingintrovert.com.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.